at the other race, Herschel Walker, also backed by Trump. He won easily. How do you think he stacks up against Senator Warnock in a general election?
Yeah, it's a toss-up, Gordon. I think it's an absolute toss-up. Very interesting, right? Two black candidates, a Republican, a Democrat, running against each other in the fall. There will be some baggage that Herschel Walker has from the past as it relates to a domestic violence incident, to some mental instability, his critics will say. And so that will come back for sure. But I think overall this is a toss-up and definitely a race that Republicans can win. And once again, Trump did back Herschel Walker. So it wasn't all bad news for Trump in Georgia. Of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene won as well in Georgia. And then, of course, in Texas, I should mention, the Attorney General, Ken Paxton, who was under a lot of criticism there. And he made everything about election integrity. He won against one of the Bushes down there in that race.
All right. Well, let's talk about the election reform laws, particularly the one in Georgia. If you listen to the left, it's repressive. It's like Jim Crow area laws. But at the same time, we saw yesterday, turnout was higher than in 2018. So how do you explain turnout being higher and supposedly these laws are repressing the vote?
Well, it's a great question, and Democrats are already trying to kind of move the goalposts and spin their way out of this. Look, over 800,000 or so voters in Georgia, much more than in 2018 if you're comparing apples to apples, and even more than in the 2020 presidential election. So how do you explain it exactly? And what Democrats are now saying is, well, hold on. Stacey Abrams is saying things along the lines of, well, suppression of the vote isn't just about turnout. It's about mail-in balloting. It's about having access to a ballot. So here we go with the spin game and how they're going to try to work themselves around this. But look, I think that was not a good storyline for Democrats and pretty hard to justify as well.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculously hard to justify. I'll weigh in on this one. Mail-in voting and ballot harvesting is a #1 way for political abuse. And why would you ever say that's okay to do? And if you have legitimate reasons that you need to mail in a ballot, then great, but you have to certify all of that. So it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, you're absolutely right. And just real quick, I 100% agree with you. And on the mail-in balloting, let's remember, the Democrats will say, well, why can't we have more access for mail-in ballots so, people can, it's all about democracy and your right to vote. Okay, great. So let's go with that for a moment. But here's the problem. If you're going to send out mail-in ballots to everybody, how about we clean up the voter rolls in America? The problem is, I'll just give you a quick example. I live in a certain state. I used to live in another state. I won't start revealing all my private information, but I can tell you this, the state I used to live in, I can still vote there if I want. I got a ballot to vote in a state I don't even live in. This is the problem, Gordon. You're going to start mailing out ballots to people that don't even live in those states anymore. You got to clean up the voter rolls before you can get to the issue of mail-in balloting.
All right. Well, David, thanks for the analysis, and we'll look forward to the midterms.